Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Pleasure Priority Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Amber, and as always, it's my pleasure to talk to you today. So let's get into it. Okay, so have y'all ever heard of that exercise? And you probably have if you listen to my podcast, but that like future you exercise where you're told to think about your future self in the position that you desire to be in today and then embody that version of yourself. So, what do they do? What do they say? How do they respond in certain situations? How do they wake up in the morning? What's the first thing they do? How do they treat their day? How do they set boundaries? How do they approach problems? And so on and so forth. And I know for some of my clients, and even for myself, sometimes I struggled with embodying future me and then maintaining consistency with that because there was like some point in time where I always fell out of belief, or I would just fall back into my current patterns or old current patterns. I don't know, time's weird because it was just easier or because it was familiar or again, because I didn't really believe in how current me, exactly as I am, could get to that future state. For me personally, there was always this belief that inevitably, yeah, I got it. I'm her. Like that totally makes sense. I see that down the road. But then when I tried to embody that today, it wouldn't click because it was like, no, that's down the road. Me today, that's not her. She can't do that. She can't do these. She doesn't think like that. She doesn't have the capacity. She's got so much work to do before she could even start acting like her. So it would always end up in this place where I was holding myself back, telling myself that I couldn't be her. I couldn't get there until. And honestly, for the longest time, it's something that I just like kind of left. Like I figured out other ways to achieve my goals and I never really like resonated with the whole future you thing. And at the same time, I did resonate with the future me thing in that app, website, whatever, futureme.org. It's when you can literally write a letter to yourself and then post date it to send to yourself at a later date. So I've written to myself for future birthdays. I've written to myself in just random moments of like, oh, like in 3 years, you're going to get this email. And I've been doing it long enough where I have gotten some of those emails and I'm like, holy shit, like I was in such a different place. And then I could track back to that version of me and send back that love, that positivity, that assurance. And in that sense, I felt connected to the different timelines of myself, but more from a backdated perspective. And then it all came together this week because I had a session with my energy healer, incredible woman. Love that lady down. Anywho, we were talking, we were working together. She was giving me my session, and we came across a heart wall made out of snails, which is actually hilarious. Not breaking down into everything of what that means, but I did have some unresolved emotions, some trapped emotions inside of me that were affecting me and honestly playing out in the sense of like doubt and imposter syndrome of believing that I could do what I wanted to do and I could get where I wanted to get and I could do it and claim it now. And so she found six layers and again things from my past that were still that a part of me was still holding on to and was affecting me. So one was hopelessness from the age of 12. I had a double wall of guilt. Lots of things to be guilty for, I guess. Unworthiness at age 5, lost at age 28. LOL makes sense. I got divorced, I left my job, restarted my whole life, Saturn return. Anywho, inside of I'm saying all this because inside of one of those walls, there was this like trapped dynamic of my ability to trust myself. So her advice mixed with my own body's advice and inner knowing was like embody your future self and practice giving and relaying that trust back to your present and past selves. And I was like, I have a block there. I'm having a lot of resistance come up. I do not know how to embody my future self. Like, it doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. Like, I don't trust that I can be her. So then the solution that she offered was to start with my present self and work my way back. And that released the pressure, it released the resistance, and it was something that I could enter into freely and still accomplish the goal in this work. And I've already been applying it and just thinking about it more and thinking about why it works like this. And some of the conclusions that I got to are this makes sense. It makes sense why I struggle to embody my future self. It makes sense why I can't see myself in the same ways that everyone else sees me. And that's because my background, my childhood, how I was raised, how it affected me, and how it's still affecting me today. Those feelings of hopelessness, guilt, unworthiness that I had trapped in my body were all around some of the most important people in my life and the effect of some of the interactions that we had when I was young. The lessons that I learned from those things ultimately taught me not to trust myself, taught me that it's not safe to trust myself because I'm wrong and being wrong is punishable. So I can't trust myself because I'm wrong. I have to trust the people that get it right. I have to trust the people that are punishing me because if I do it how they want it done, I get it right. AKA, I don't get punished. And that's how it continued to play out. That hopelessness I felt, turns out it came from a situation I won't get into, but the lesson I learned from it was when you have money, you have options. When you have money, you can make decisions. So at the age of 12, I adopted the belief that I only had a voice if I had pockets deep enough to sit at the table to even have a chance to speak. So, yeah, it also lines up with the same year that I started working, babysitting, dog sitting, actually pet sitting. I had a turtle at a time because I was just like, yeah, I need to have money because money is the only way that I can have choice. And the value or amount of money is directly correlated to my ability to have choices and make decisions. Suffocating, right? And then again, when it came to the guilt, and that was a double wall. One, I felt bad for leaving somebody behind. I got myself out of a situation that was not good for me. And I felt so guilty for just saving myself, for just focusing on me, for not being able to get somebody else out of that too. And honestly, looking back, and at the time I knew it then, it wasn't my responsibility to. They had to. They had to decide for themselves. I couldn't make that decision for them, but I had to make that decision for myself. But still, that guilt was hanging on to me, weighing me down, making me believe that I was wrong. I was bad for putting myself first. Same shit that I tell y'all all the time. And in that, like, I know it's not easy. I know we have so much telling us that we shouldn't be doing this. But just because we have those things in us doesn't mean that putting ourselves first is wrong. It still needs to happen. It just means that it's not always going to feel good. That's okay. It still needs to happen. And even similar with that second guilt wall, it was for my ex. Literally guilt of ending the relationship. And I've talked about this so much. I've talked about it pretty recently. I did not need to be in that relationship. It got to the point where there was literally nothing in it for me. I don't know if I've ever said it in these directive terms on the podcast, but I literally had to be in a life or death situation before I reconciled that it was okay to leave the relationship. And yet I still felt guilty and still had guilt inside of me for ending a relationship to literally save my life. At the same time, another one of those walls was taken for granted. That was with my ex too. Crazy enough, he actually told me that I emasculated him because I said I was going to go get a job and I got it. And it was a good job, a really good job, big tech company, great salary, all the things. But me doing what I said I was going to do emasculated him. And at the same time, he didn't do anything about it. He just, allowed me to do everything financially, on the home front, cooking, cleaning, tending to his needs in ways that he could never reciprocate, all the things. So, yeah, I did feel taken for granted. And my body actually chimed in on that one and gave me the quote: "Your success is not a comment on anyone else." Which, whew, is so fucking freeing because it's really not. My success is my own. Your success is your own. And it truly is no comment on anyone else. And that's not saying that anyone didn't help get you there, because we do not achieve success in a silo. I do believe that. However, your success doesn't mean anything about anybody else. My success, my getting that job, didn't mean anything about him. It didn't mean that he was less of a man or anything like that. That's how he took it, but that's not what it meant. And I don't have to carry that with my success. And then again, age 5, I had an unworthy, again, coming from me not doing something right. This specific scenario was folding laundry. I did it one way, super proud. And my mom told me it was wrong and to redo it. So what that teach me? I can't trust myself. I can't be proud of myself. I can't think I did something right without somebody else's approval of it. And these things were still eating at me, even with all this work. And what I want to say about that is there is no final destination. We don't get to any place where we are no longer affected by any of the things that affected us, no longer affected by any of the limiting beliefs that we were introduced to, any of the societal factors that we've been raised by, any of the oppressive systems that we have to live with. They're all still affecting us and constantly will. We will always have more to work through, more to heal from. Just because things keep coming up doesn't mean that anything's wrong with you. It just means that you're human. And there really is no state of perfection that we have to get to again. We're just here for the fucking ride. And there will always be some shit under the rug when you lift it up. And that's okay. But anywho, I had all this shit in my heart wall, and it was blocking me from showing up in the ways that I wanted to, aka protecting me, trying to keep me safe, but also blocking me. And with this exercise of staying present, but sending love, encouragement, affirmation, support back to my past self, oh my God, it feels so doable. It feels so healing because I understand. I've seen the path. And maybe that also just helps with my neurodivergent brain. I know that I got from there to here. I know that I can do hard things because I never imagined back then that I would be this bitch. I never even saw myself as who I am today. I didn't think it was possible. I didn't even think I could dream this big. Past me is like, holy shit, you're incredible. And shoring up that relationship, giving that love back to my past self, I'm recognizing is how I've been able to move forward. And getting a little meta here, because time is not linear. It doesn't happen in a sequential order. Who I was, who I am, and who I will be all exist at the same time. So, me now giving strength to me from the past, she can feel it. And who's to say That's not the encouragement. That's not the audacity. That's not the stroke of genius that just fell into my head that I could do differently, that I could be different, that I could live my life differently. And all I had to do was take the first step. And all I had to do after that was keep fucking going. Me now gave that power to me then. And in that same breath, me from the future can give me power now. But when I don't feel like I can access that, I can go another way because it's all related, it's all connected, and it all serves you. Well, in this example, me. But when you apply it to yourself, you. So if you're struggling to think about your future self, to embody your future self, if you're struggling to figure out the path, the how you're going to get from here to there, take time to be present and go backwards. I know we don't often get a lot of advice to think about or reflect on the past, but this is me giving it to you because it's necessary. Think about how far you've come. Think about where you used to be. Think about what you used to look up to and how you've claimed and embodied those things for yourself now. And then show that love, that support, that encouragement to that version of yourself. Give them the keys, give them the secrets. Tell them that they can do it. Send them the energy of what it feels like to be at completion, what it feels like to be on the other side of those hurdles. And then think about the manifestation power from that angle. You can create anything because you already have. You can be anyone because you already are. You can do anything because you already did. You can survive anything because you already did. I know it's a little mind bendy, but when you get it, it really hits. It can literally change your entire experience of the world. It can jumpstart you into so many new goals. I think I might save this for another episode, but when I tell you how I've transformed since that session, since I've been doing these exercises, I've had so much more energy. I've been able to just do the things I've been procrastinating on. I genuinely feel like I've lost 10 pounds of baggage, pressure, whatever you name it. It's gone. And with all that extra energy that I was expending on just trying, now I have the capacity to move that energy from trying to doing. And I feel like this term has been gentrified, but baby, quantum leaps are real. And this is one of the paths to get there. But anywho, I'm not going to make this any longer than it needs to be. So that's the episode for today. As always, if you have questions, I want to know them. I want to answer them. Please submit them through the Ask Amber form. You can find it in the show notes, and I'll answer those on the next Ask Amber episode. Outside of that, make sure you are on my email list so you can stay up to date with everything. And with that, I'll see you next time. Stay pleased, friends. Thanks for joining me for this episode of The Pleasure Priority. I hope that when you see things can be better, you're inspired to do better. Because remember, you deserve nothing less than an abundance of joy, fulfillment, and all the peaceful good vibes. If you love this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. Oh, and hey, make sure you're on my email list for more tips, laughs, story times, community, and all things pleasure. So until next time, keep living life on your terms because settling is for the birds. All right, stay pleased, my friends. I'll see you soon.